Marksman's games that miss the mark. Today I'm going to be covering an old game called Summon Night Swordcraft Story 2. Holy crap guys, this game is awesome. It is so old, but it's so good. It's on Game Boy Advance. And really, if you can get past the characters and slightly different dialogue and really get deep-seated into this game, you will find yourself having a pretty great experience. The difficulty and learning curve is kind of grindy, which is honestly why I hacked it, but the only reason I really played it was for the story. The story is just so good. I honestly can't really say without full certainty that there is another game besides some of the current titles like Heavy Rain that have a better story than this one. It's so old yet so pure and awesome and innocent, and it just has its own charm to it that nobody really gave it credit for. I just had to say on record that this game is pretty dang amazing, and if you haven't tried it for yourself, either pick it up or find an emulator, which I do not fully support, but if you can't get it any other way, I highly recommend you just give this game a try. I have to throw this in there, that it is kind of different in its presentation, as it is a little bit anime-y at times, but you really have to let yourself, I should say, get invested in the characters and the plot in order to have the full experience, to have that enjoyment that I truly got out of it. It honestly changed the way I look at things a little bit. I mean, to an extent, I feel like a better person because of it, which is miraculous, because I have not felt like that from a game in quite a long time, ever since Kirby Air Ride. Anyway, you do have to let yourself get invested in the characters to truly enjoy it. By the end of it, honestly, I was so enthralled with the story and the characters, I couldn't find myself giving up at any time during it, so I had to hack it just to get myself leveled up to the point where I didn't have to deal with these sometimes annoying fights, but the mechanics are good enough to the point where I didn't mind the battles too much, though they do come very frequently. But the main reason why this is one of my new favorite games is simply from the characters and the story itself. Now, the story itself, with its plotline and conflicts, is very clever. I have not seen too many games so plot twisty and good back in that time, but right now this game still holds firm. I have a great feeling that if you played this, you would be satisfied. The story and the characters are interesting enough in their own right to give you a feel for each and every person and individual, their likes and dislikes, and by the end of it you'll feel like you actually kind of know the characters, and including yourself, who kind of is a little bit different than most because he's so innocent and trusting, and he's a nice person, or she, it would depending on who you pick. And another thing, there's 4 different starting summon creatures in quotation marks, and those are kind of like the creatures that will be sticking with you for the whole game and drive part of the plot, blah blah blah. I picked the Devil Girl just because the conflict and the dialogue seems to be way more interesting for me when that is the case. But yeah, you can pick whoever you want. There's 4 different ones, and each of them kind of changes the story rather drastically. Each of them has their own lines of dialogue and different options and all this stuff. And the ending, oh my god, that ending. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but if you decide to play it, please give it just play it through to the end. And on the 9th night, make sure you pick who you want to pick. Otherwise, it'll be a different ending than one you were hoping for. But oh my god, that ending, so good. So very good. Anyway, the point of all this being Summon Night Swordcraft Story 2, which doesn't make much sense because why summon night? Not summon night like a night, but summon night like nighttime. Maybe because you talk to people at night, maybe? But the point being, regardless of the title, it is a very good, well-made game with very strong points and very strong character design and plot, and honestly, I can't really say anything too negative about the game other than the kind of annoyingly frequent battles. But for most people, they would be probably looking forward to them because you can kind of grind your way to victory. But I didn't like the grinding, I didn't like any of that. So if you want to, you can probably hack it just for the story, which I did. And in the end, even when it was hacked, I started having difficulties with like the end game bosses and stuff. They were still difficult, man. The game is really, really hard. But if you can work your way through it, it is a very, very well made and well done game. The character design should be honestly hailed more than it is, because they have some developmental plot lines and things that happen in the game that just kind of astound me at this day and age, because they just don't develop characters anymore like this. And wow, anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching. This is my little underrated spotlight of old and underrated games, or underrated. I'm gonna say that a few more times. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Again, Summon Night Swordcraft Story 2. I'm not going to have a link to an emulator because I don't support that. Blah, blah, blah. Legal jargon. Thank you guys, and I will see you later. Stay frosty.